Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem. A guten Isru Chag. A gezinta Zimmer. Siman Pei Zayin. Sif Beis. Garaf ve'avid shel cheres oy shel eitz shekfai al piv. If you have this bowl of earthenware or wood that you turned it on its mouth, yesh matirin, some permit, v'yesh oisrin, some forbid it. The halacha k'divrei ha'oisrim. The halacha is like those who forbid. It says Mishabura, yesh matirin, to have a kamay kisoi. Some permit it because it's like it's covered. V'yesh oisrin, the kivan shazuma balu b'soicha, since the filth is absorbed in it, hakli gufa hu kamay tzaya. The kli itself is like tzaya. V'asar ad sheichaseu, and it's asar until you cover it. Avol shamadches, but if it's metal, afilu enoi rachotz mi bifnim, even if it's not cleaned out on the inside, mahani kfi, it helps to turn it over. The eni surah elametoicha, the isra is only on the inside. Ukfiya chashav kisai, turning it over is considered covering it. V'im kisa ala grafe avid v'reach ra noidef mehem, if you covered on this bowl and the smell emanates from it, bein shehu shel cheres, whether it's earthenware v'rachotz and it's washed out, oy shel madches ve'enoi rachotz, kasav hader chachayim, the tzarech lahachik dalet amos mimakom shekal hareach. Dezeh mikri, this is called reach ra sheyesh lo ikar. This will be called a bad smell that is sourced in a substance. Va'ayin b'ma shekasavnu beber halacha b'siman ayin tes b'hakdama oy zayin. Look what we wrote in the Ber Halacha in Siman Ayin Tes in the Hakdama Oy Zayin. V'imhu shel madches, if it's metal v'rachutz and it's washed out, dai sheyarchik ad makom sheyichla hareach ra. It's enough that you distance yourself until a place that the smell emanates. So in other words, if it's cheres and washed out, or metal and not washed out, that's called reach ra sheyesh lo ikar. You have to go 4 amos away from where the smell stops. But if it's metal and it's washed, then it's enough to distance yourself that you don't smell it. Dezeu reich ra she'en lo ikar. That's a reich ra that doesn't have a substance. Kasav shla sheyargel adam shehei lo avid shel matches. Person should train themselves to. In other words, one should try to make sure they have an avit of metal. Oizachuches via rachatz v'naki v'yata l'soichai revius ma'im kishamashtin bay v'az mutter loy levarach asher yatzer v'lo moitara etzlai. So if it's made out of metal or glass and it's washed out and you put in a revius of water, it's mutter to be mavarech asher yatzar, and you could learn there. Venerally imhu naki, if it's clean ve'ena yotzer shum reach ra mimenu, Azai dai sheyirchatzumi every Shabbos, is enough to wash it every Friday. Ad kan l'shayne v'huba be'el yarabba. So, why does one have to distance from our toilets? L'chayra, they're a lot cleaner than this metal or glass bowl that you wash out once a week. I mean, if you only wash out your bowl once a week, how could it be any cleaner than our toilets? Okay. Siv Gimel. Mutter likros kriyashma b'bayis sheish b'itzayu me'aglayim oy grafa avid kiven shehichak mehem kashir shenizbar b'simin ayin tes. If there is saya or meraglayim or a graf in the house, as long as you distance yourself the requisite shear, you're good to go. It doesn't disqualify the whole house. V'chein im kaf aleim keli, if you cover it over, afal pi shehim imay bebayis, even though they're in the house. Harei elu kikvurim, it's like it's buried. Umotor likros kenegda, you could read opposite it. Says the Mishna shehirchik. V'im haya bebayis mita gavaya asara. If you have in the house a bed 10 tfachim tall, v'amachitza is magias la'aretz, and the partitions reach the floor, mikolat stadim. Or if the feet are short, and they're not 3 tfachim tall, then it's like lavad, v'tsaya, a graph, the avid, oimed acharei hamita, and the avid is behind the bed. Mikri hamita mechitza. The mita would be a mechitza v'shari likros lefnei hamita ve'ein sarach laharchek. Says the Mishnah Berura that if the bed is 10 tfachim tall and the partitions reach the floor from every side, or let's say the feet are short and they're not 3 tfachim, so now it's like lavad. Why, if the feet are short, do we say that it's a hefsek, that it's a mechitza? Because then the fact that it's connected to the ground makes it considered like a mechitza. So you're allowed to say Shema before the mita, and you don't have the distance. Uvavad shla yira es hagraf, as long as you don't see the graph. V'gam shla yagia lo yireich ra, and you don't smell it. Because of Magen Avram, the davka kishamita choitzetzes mikoisel lekoisel. This is only if the bed is a separation from wall to wall. If the bed extends from wall to wall. Aval b'lav hachi lo chashiva mechitza. If the bed does not go from wall to wall, it's not considered a mechitza. V'harbe mefakbekin medinzeh. Many challenges. Gam b'sefer nishmas adam tama alav. The Sefer Nishmas Adam also questions this. Al kein masik b'chay adam, de b'mei raglayim, that if you have urine shahayu ala aretz that was on the floor, oy b'chli she'inay graf, or in a kli that's not a graph, de inan ela midrabanan. So if it's urine or something which is only midrabanan yesh lahakal likros levarach neged mechitza, you could be lenient and read opposite mechitza afilo enochay tzetzes, even if it doesn't interpose avaloi kneged ha'avir, but not opposite the spot in the room where the bed is not. In other words, we just said that the Magen Avram said only if the bed is choitzetz mi koisel lekoisel, otherwise not. And many achronim say no, the bed does not have to be choitzetz from wall to wall. Therefore, the Chai Adam says if it's a drabanan, you could be mekel as long as it's not opposite the empty spot. That I bring his whole language. Okay. Dapim hakvuim makoisa. If you have a board set into the wall, shekarin palitza, a bank, afal pi shekvaim asar tachim, even though they're 10 tvachim tall, the efshar afilu roichav arba tachim, it could be even 4 tvachim wide. Lo haver rishus la'atzmai. It's not a separate domain. Since they don't have partitions that reach the wall, that reach the floor. So the fact that it's just attached to the wall makes it that it's not really a mechitza, because there's no bottom. What?
A bench?
It's talking about some kind of plank attached to the wall that you sit on it.
Right, a bench, yeah.
No, not a bench, because a bench has legs. So if it has legs, then the legs would be a mechitza, right? So this is some kind of board just attached to the wall without any leg to it. Why? She'en lo mechitzos hamagis la'aretz. V'chein shulchanoi shalanu she'amdu araglayim, or a table that they do stand on feet. She'en barachvan arba tvachim. That you don't have 4 tvachim wide. Afal pi, meaning what's not 4 tvachim wide? The table or the legs of the table?
The legs.
Afal pi shein gavoyin asar tvachim, like have a mechitza l'hafsik. That would not be a mechitza. Oid kasav sham graf, oyafilu mei raglayim ha'imed. If you have this bowl of excrement or even urine that's between the oven and the wall, nearly the asar lamed b'tzara tanor, you can't stand on the side of the oven v'likrois afal pisha tanor mafsik the kivan dehu mitashmishe habayis batel legabe habayis. Since it's from the kalim that is used in the house, it's batel to the house. V'chein kol kiyotze b'zeh. Avol shar klei habayis she'enu miyuchad labayis. other kelim which are not designated for the house, niroli de mafsikim, it would seem to me that they are mafsik. So what's the difference between a table and an oven? A table is not for the bias.
Table doesn't have a wall.
Let's say it does have a wall.
It's good.
Why is it good? But a tanur is not good because it's mitashmishe habayis.
So you also need to have Mechitzas all the way around it. So good. Not sure.
It's part of the house, he means? It's like, it's the structure of the house as opposed to a table is the clay habayis.
Maybe the built-in Panrim those days. Yeah, built-in oven, yeah.
But he says the kivan hu mitashmishe habayis. He means it's part of the furniture. But furniture meaning it's part of the structure. Fine. If you put the bowl under the bed, and the mechitzas of the bed reach less than 3 tvachim next to the ground, even if the bed is not 10 tvachim tall, you could read before the bed, and on it, amrinan lavod, we say lavod v'havik mechusa, and it's like it's covered. So earlier on, we had Amita Gavoya Asara, and the Mechitzas reached the floor from all sides. So it's like this. Earlier on we had a bed. If the bed is 10 tvachim tall, and the partitions either reach the floor, or even if they don't reach the floor, the legs are 3 tvachim, are not 3 tvachim, so then we could use lava to get the mechitzas down to the floor. Here we're talking about a mita that's not 10 tvachim tall. But we utilize, if it's under the bed, if there's stuff under the bed, we could use lava to consider it not a mechitza, but to consider it covered. This is as long as you don't smell it. If you smell it, loy mahani, kisoy, it's not going to help to cover it. A mechitza is not going to help. Our beds that the legs are 3 tvachim tall, then you're going to have to distance yourself from the tzoah as is legally required. Kali, afilu yesh ktsas avir bein hakli lakarka. We said in the beginning of the Seif that you could say Kriya Shema if you were marchik, or if there's a keli, even if there's airspace between the kli and the karka, could go in shaboyle ktsas mitzad echad. For example, let's say, in other words, you put a kli over the tzoya, but it's open a little bit. Anything which is less than 3 tvachim, we would say lavud, and it's considered kimechusa. Again, this is provided you don't smell it. Avla makli pasuach lamala, if it's open above, afilu pachas mishloisha asar. Even if the kli is less than 3 tvachim, it's going to be asar. What's the chiluk? Why less than? Why if it's open above less than 3 tvachim, we don't say lavud? In other words, why if the kli is open on top and it's less than 3 tvachim tall, why don't we say it will be considered closed because of lavud? We say that if you cover it with the kli and there's airspace on the bottom, we say lavud. Why not if there's airspace on the top? So the Beis Baruch says, if it's open above and you want to consider it covered through lavud, we don't say lavud b'kelim. And lavud, meaning lavud cannot change the metzius that it's uncovered. But if it is covered, the lavud is not changing the metzius. It's covered. It's just there's an opening. So an opening, lavud could say it's closed. But if it's uncovered, lavud cannot say it's covered. Lavid can't change the reality. Lavid could just say something which is open is closed, but not something which is uncovered is covered. Rabbi say, have a great Shabbos. Kol tov. Be well.